Students, I will teach you today socio and the religious causes of the Great Uprising. As you can see, the first point is written over here interference with the social customs. Sati, widow remarriage, act, then Western education for girls was not welcomed by masses. Actually, the 1829 Act abolishing sati was regarded as an undue interference in the religion of the Indians. The Widow Remarriage Act of 1856 affected only a handful of widows, and it was regarded as an infringement upon the religious sentiments of the people. The teachings of English, it was introduced in the Calcutta Madrasa, a Muslim educational institute, as well as the Benares Sanskrit College. This was looked upon with suspicion by the Pandits and the Maulavis who raised their voices in protest against the Western learning. Second point, it is written apprehension about modern innovations like railways and telegraphs. Indians that misunderstood that telegraph poles were made to hang them and the railways, the higher caste, were made to sit with the lower caste. Actually, the British government, they have introduced railways and the telegraph for their own convenience. The introduction of railways was regarded as an encroachment on caste distinction, as people, irrespective of caste, could travel together. The Hindus felt that their social order was threatened. The telegraph system was introduced by the British to improve communication and facilitate control over the Indian territories. It was viewed with suspicion as some kind of evil magic. The third point, policy of racial discrimination. Disrespect and ill treatment was given to Indians. Each and everywhere, the Indians were maltreated. They were disrespect shown to them. That's why they were angry towards the British. Point number 4, corruption in administration. Rich were allowed to go away after crime, and poor were looted and tortured. So those were the rich. They could give bribe to the British officers, police officers and all, and they were allowed to go away after the crime also. But the poor, those who didn't have money, they were tortured, their property was looted, etc. Point number 5, oppression of the poor, beating, torture and the imprisonment. So it was a thing that the poor people, they had to tolerate. Beating, they were beaten mercilessly by the British officers, tortured, and without any reason they were sent to prison. Point number 6, fear regarding Western education. Already I have told this, that Pandits and the Maulavis forced that it is done to convert their children to Christians. So according to the Maulavis and the Pandits, the Western education or the English education, it was mainly started in India to convert the Indian children to Christianity. Point number 7, taxing religious places. Tax lands belonging to the temples and the mosques. That means the British government not only imposed taxes on revenue, but they also imposed taxes on different charitable institutions such as temples, mosques, etc. The military causes of the Great Uprising. The revolt of 1857 started as a sepoy mutiny. It was only later on that other elements of society joined the revolt. So, as the movement or the revolt, it was started by the sepoys, but after that, the different group of religion people also joined with them. Indian sepoys formed more than 87% of the British troops in India. So in the British Army, more than 87% of the sepoys were Indian. They were considered inferior to the British soldiers. So though the European and the British soldiers and the Indian soldiers, they had the same rank, but the Indian soldiers were regarded as inferior to the British soldiers. An Indian sepoy was paid less than an European sepoy of the same rank. Though their ranks were same, but an Indian soldier used to get 4 to 5 times less salary than an European or the British soldier. Besides, an Indian sepoy could not rise to a rank higher than of a subedar. So all the high posts in the army were reserved for the British. Hence, the scope of promotion for a sepoy was very limited. No Indian could rise higher than a subedar. Point number 4. The extension of the British Empire of India had adversely affected the service condition of Indian sepoys. They were required to serve in areas far away from their homes. In 1856, Lord Canning issued the General Service Enlistment Act, which needed that the sepoys must be ready to serve even the British land across the sea. Very important point, students. So, the General Service Enlistment Act of 1856 provided that all the recruits to the Bengal army should be ready to serve anywhere, both within and outside the country. This alarmed the sepoy, for it was traditionally believed that if they had to cross the sea and go outside the country, they would lose their religion. And the last point, the Bengal army was recruited from high caste communities in Awadh. They were not prepared to cross the ocean, that means the Kalapani, which was forbidden as far as the Hindu beliefs. Already I have told that if they believe that if they will cross the sea and go outside the country, they would lose their religion. They developed the suspicion that the government was trying to convert the Indians to Christianity. So they were afraid that the British maybe convert them to Christianity in this way. After the annexation of Awadh, the Nawab's army was disbanded. These soldiers lost their means of livelihood. They became the bitter enemies of the British government. One more point I want to include over here, that is the foreign service allowance or bhata, which the sepoy got when they were sent to fight outside the country, was discontinued. So British government had promised the Indian soldiers that if they will fight for the British and go to the overseas front, then they will get the special allowance, service allowance, which was known as the bhata. But the British government, they did not keep their promises. It was discontinued by them.